Hello right bags, it's Jade with another Tribes of Midgard preview video. Obviously with the game coming out on July 27th, you guys are hungry for more info. So I'm going to showcase the enemies, the creatures, the bosses, the Jotun, pretty much giving you a little detail and a glimpse, utilising some of the stuff from the wiki, as well as an article from Games Radar that gives a little bit more detail, particularly about the bosses and some tips on how to defeat them. They've got elemental damage weaknesses, and so that's what we'll be covering over today. Please do go and check out the rest of my Tribes Midgard content. I've got lots planned, lots of guides as well, as I have got access to the game already, and I can't wait to delve into Midgard with you guys very soon. Let's go. So the game is obviously based on stopping the Jotun from destroying Yggdrasil, the tree or seed of life that is at the heart of your settlement. Now, depending on what game mode you play, these attacks can happen at various different times. But don't worry, because the maps are so large, they're procedurally generated, you'll have plenty of time to get ready and prepared for whatever attack comes your way. Games Radar pretty much details a lot of this in saying that your village is going to be fortified with various defensive structures that you can hopefully upgrade over time by giving resources and souls back to your village. Friendly NPCs are going to be upgraded, they'll be able to give you better weapons, and you'll be able to take a look at the giants' elemental weaknesses. Each one of the giants represents an element. I am going to murder these names, I can barely say my own name correctly. You can try teaching me, go ahead, leave it in the comment section down below. Kicking off with Gerador, the ice giant, is roughly a lake's worth of frozen water into one very big giant. Hence why he has a massive Viking ship as a shoulder ornament. Looks like he's going to be a bit of a slower moving giant, so you'll have a bit more time to prepare, but he's absolutely one of the strongest giants out of the four. His ground pounds are going to be doing damaging icicles shooting up through the ground around him, but you will be able to predict when these attacks happen, so you hopefully be able to dodge out the way. He can also use his ranged attack, which is lobbing snowballs at players. And we're not talking just little tiny ones, we're talking big boulder sized ones in his giant hands. So it's pretty obvious that fire weapons are going to do the job against this icy nemesis. Angrboda, the dark giant, she who offers sorrow. Wherever Angrboda treads, night follows. The area around her is always shrouded in darkness, and she uses this fact to summon a horde of the same hell things that siege your village almost every night. Does look like the creatures she summons you'll have to deal with as well, even if you've defeated her, and they can be quite a challenge. But there is some interesting mechanics with this boss. When it's nighttime, she's going to illuminate with her aura some areas that you may need to be able to go and harvest certain resources that you can only get at nighttime. As long as you avoid dark pools, not step into them or dodge into them, you should be okay. Then we have the opposite, obviously, of the ice Jotun, and it's Halogi. A massive, huge fiery sword, spits out huge amounts of flame, and molten droplets from his massive shoulders will drop to the ground. The sword isn't just dangerous in itself with the blade, when it does stab the ground it will do a huge area effect damage that can burn players too. So again, pretty obvious you're going to need ice element weapons to hopefully take on this fire giant. And maybe look at range weapons a little bit more, as that area effect is pretty wide and substantial. Then we've got Junsaksa Thunder Giant. The devs have teased that this will probably be the final giant for a while. They do maybe have some tentative plans or hopes to add another one, but not for a while yet. In a human form, Junsaksa carries a spear which sends out a line of lightning, and she can also emit balls of electricity to keep you on the back foot. The second form is a living thunderstorm. When she hits half HP or arrives at your village, whatever comes first, you'll be facing down a storm from even more proposition than fighting the other Jotnar. So even when you feel like you're winning the war, that's when things will start actually getting a little bit more turbo and maybe a bit more difficult. The developers give top tips in saying that when you know it's Junsaksa, it's better to actually get her down half her health out somewhere out in the world. Developer Moroda carries on and says that portion of the fight is going to be much more easier than if she arrives at the village and she has full health and is in a thunderstorm form. Junsaksa is also one of the fastest moving giants in the game, so you're going to have to be very quick to maybe get her down to that 50% health mark before she hits your settlement. Her weakness, crafting dark imbued equipment, snuffing out the light that she summons. So that's the giants. What can we really be doing against them? Well, you can set up some defences in terms of the stuff around your settlement, but you won't necessarily be able to set up too much when you're out and about. Hopefully they'll add more to that as the game develops. It is meant to be a live service game, so there will be more content added over the future, but you definitely need all hands on deck to take on one of these giants. You will get a few days warning in game, And so you've got time to decide whether or not you're going to go meet the giant and start slowing it down, its huge health bar, or somehow think it might be a better idea for it to come to you, again depending on what the giant's abilities are. You might actually really need that time to get more ingredients to craft better weapons or get your defences up and running more with souls, which you have to feed or give to your NPCs. What about everyday mobs, creatures that you'll be facing as you explore, and the ones that will be attacking your settlement as you try and build your defences up every night more or less? Well, as you would imagine, a lot of it's heavily based on the Viking lore and mythology, so expect lots of trolls, lots of goblins, and maybe just a little bit of Draugr. In this instance, a lot of them are called Unfrozen. The main enemy, of course, is the Hellthing, so we're going to cover some of these in a bit more detail. I'll give you as much lowdown as I can about where you'll face some of these enemies and creatures. So the Brenelfar enemies range from archers to warriors, and these are going to be around the Smoky Highlands. They seem to have some fire elemental damage, so I'm imagining that taking them on with ice damage will be the better approach if you've got any weapons like that. And looks to be maybe more of the common enemy that you'll find in this biome. When it comes to goblins, you're going to find a variety of different types. You've got blue and then white, and they range in different biomes all over. You might come across goblin warriors in the land of pools, but a blue goblin thrower, he may only be found in the Smoky Highlands. And bear in mind, some of this may be subject to change. A lot of this I'm going over is from the wiki, which the devs have said they have been updating, or there's a big community that will be updating the wiki as the game goes on. So it does look like these guys are going to be more of a nuisance than anything else, particularly the thrower throwing rocks and rubble at you, and the warrior seemingly looking like he's got more of a pickaxe rather than a proper weapon. Now, it doesn't seem to be too much difference between the blue and the white, although I am guessing maybe there'll be some sort of level difference. Remember, enemies will be split into 3 different types. You'll find level 1, level 2, level 3, easy, medium, hard. And because of the way that the world is procedurally generated, you won't necessarily just get harder enemies all the way on the outside of the world. You'll suddenly come into a zone that was maybe zone 1, but as you go to the next biome, that area may become a zone 2 area with zone 2 enemies, before venturing back into a zone 1 place after you've gone through a certain biome. So your chances are you probably will come across a variety of different level enemies all over the map. Although there are definitely some biomes that look like they've got much harder to defeat creatures. Now the Dokkelfar come in a variety of different flavours, archers as well as warriors and witches. All 3 of these are going to be found in the Bright Forest. Only purely judging by, again, some of the designs around them, it does maybe look like they're more in tune with the lightning elemental damage. Well, that's not 100% certain just yet, but there is a lot of yellow and gold on their bodies and faces. I imagine the witch will be something that you need to maybe take down, as that would definitely be a support class to anything around them. Now, it wouldn't be a full-blown Viking game if it didn't at least have some trolls. And I'm not talking about the kids that type ratio on every tweet you make. Again, coming in 2 varieties, blue and white, with seemingly not much difference in terms of their elemental damages. Although the blue troll can be found in the land of pools, whereas the white one can be found in the Smoky Highlands. Looking a bit like a werewolf or maybe a Fenrir. You've got a creature called Varulfur, which is found in the Glacier Peak, a distinct blue tone to his body. Then you've got Brenelfur, which is in the Smoky Highlands. And then you've got Isilfur, which is found in the Glacier Peak as well. I'd probably put money on betting that maybe one of these creatures, maybe the Varulfur, will actually be found in a different biome. Again, I'm expecting them to do pretty serious amounts of melee damage, and again, based on their biomes, they may have some sort of elemental damage too. Now, a creature we've seen quite a bit of in the trailer and some of the gameplay art is the Linorm. It's a creature which looks to me like a mix between a serpent or a snake and maybe a dragon, is found in the land of pools. Then we've got 2 forms of Draugr by the looks of things. You've got the Unsunken and the Unfrozen. The Unsunken are going to be the enemy types that you find around the Ash Beach. There's a variety of warrior, shield maiden, as well as war chief. And then that same can be repeated with the Unfrozen warriors being found in the Glacier Peaks. Again, fully expecting them to have some sort of ice or elemental damage equipped with them. So when it comes to the actual Hellthings, well, there's a variety of these creatures, all different types, all different elemental damages, but mostly focusing on that dark energy by the looks of things. These guys are going to be attacking your settlements more often than not, and so it's pretty obvious that you'll come across these mostly. Now, there's different levels. You've got just the basic Vatlins or Seeklings, and and then you've got elite style versions of these creatures, with the Vatlin and the Seeklin covered in green robes, and the elite ones upgrade into purple. Now remember, these creatures should only be appearing at night time unless the giant Jan Saxa has actually summoned them. These guys remind me a lot of Orinoco in the He-Man cartoons back in the day. Who knows, maybe that was based on some Norwegian or Viking lore. So you've got creeplins, you've got silins, bomblins, doglins and twinlins. Now obviously the doglins look like they're going to be a bit more of a feral creature, just running around. The bomblin does seemingly have some sort of explosive damage type attached to it. And the silings do look like they do have some sort of fire damage radiating from their hands. And the twinlins look more like they might have some sort of shielding ability based on what they're carrying on their back. And then we do have a variety of different animal types as well, things that you maybe would kind of expect to see, like black wolves, different types of that wolf, like an amber wolf or white wolf. The black wolf found in the bright forest, amber wolf found in the smoky highlands, the white wolf found in Glacier Peak. And then the same thing goes along for like deer, black, brown and white, associated with their colours in different types of biomes. Lots of piggies with the boars, as well as actual proper pigs. Heron, puffin, ravens. Well, that doesn't actually show where the raven is on the wiki, what kind of biome it'll be in. And then you've got a bit more crabs and lizards and maybe some snakes. Got to say, it's quite a small pool, I would still say. You are going to need to hunt some of these down to get either fur or hide, or whatever other associated resource, maybe feathers. Although it does look like that different wolves will give you different resources. Like the amber wolf, for example, is listed as giving you filtered power, henbane nectar, whereas some of the other wolves will only give you souls or wolf fangs. It's pretty bog standard in needing lots of ingredients to craft different types of armours, different types of weapons, that you'll have to bring these resources or ingredients back to your NPCs at your settlement to craft for you. So there we go, that's all the creatures we know about. As I said, they do plan on adding more and adding updates in the future, so I expect to see a lot more things added like creatures. The world is quite vast, there's lots of biomes, and I'm hoping there's going to be enough variety in creatures. A lot of them do feel a little bit like just colour variations, but as long as they're getting different ingredients from them, or they've got some different attacks hopefully, then I'm not too bothered by that. Variety is the spice of life, and there's plenty of actual proper creatures in terms of mobs that are going to be attacking your base with the hellthings and mixing up with them giants as well, and the raid boss too. Not 100% sure if the raid boss is a separate entity or whether or not it's just one of these actual Jotnar or maybe one of the bigger large creatures, but I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Make sure you check out them guides and tutorials that are on their way, and I'll see you guys hopefully soon.